and welcome back to another edition of the ItzaMii channel. And it's it's getting close to that time, so we might as well jump on it. Um, I just wanted to talk about the Switch 2 real quick. The supposed console, as we currently know it, is the Switch 2. It's gonna be Nintendo's next console, and it sounds like a follow-up to the original Switch. And I think that's a great idea. I think that that's the best option we have, but I'll talk about that in a second. What I really want to talk about first is, why are there so many leaks coming out from not Nintendo, you know? Like, what is the deal here? Like, to me, it doesn't really matter that people are leaking it. Like, this kind of stuff happens occasionally. Why are there so many of them? And why do these people just not care? Did Nintendo send them the blueprints and then they're just making stuff and showing it off, and again, does Nintendo not care? Because the way I see it, Nintendo usually likes keeping this stuff, under the wraps. They don't like anyone saying anything about it until they're ready to say something about it, and then you can talk about it. But we just see so many third-party companies that are just saying, "Oh yeah, this is the Switch 2, and here's a case for it." And it's like, why would you do that if Nintendo gave you, their new console? And again, they would more than likely want them to keep it secret. So why are they just outright just saying that it's there? It doesn't make any sense to me, and I don't understand how these third-party companies, again, are just announcing, that, oh, they have the console model. So we have, cases, and it also looks like we have some peripherals for the Joy-Cons, which is weird. But I mean, it's just weird that Nintendo is letting this happen. So we do know that it's pretty much right around the corner. The holidays are pretty much done here. I don't suspect that Nintendo is going to be waiting that much longer. And realistically speaking, they don't really have much of a choice anyways, because I mean, they said they have until March 31st to announce the dang thing. So we're pretty much approaching, the end of that time. It's been about 6 months since they announced that they would announce it, which is weird. And then the second that they didn't announce it in September, I was kind of suspecting that we wouldn't hear anything for the rest of the year, just because they would want to let the regular Switch sell for the holidays. And now that the holidays are over, everyone's expecting it. All these leaks are coming out. I think it's time that Nintendo announces the thing. And I suspect, again, that it's going to happen in January. This could not be the case. Potentially, maybe they'll wait until March. Like, maybe they're not ready. I mean, after all, we do have Donkey Kong coming out in January, and then they have the new Xenoblade coming out in March. But again, this is like the scraps that they're giving to the Switch while they're making new games for the Switch 2. And I think that too many consumers are ready to move on, and everyone's already expecting it, because again, we're seeing all these mock-ups and all these cases and what have you. It's time to move on, and Nintendo has to do it. I mean, not to mention, I bet you investors are also like, dude, where is it? Like, what's taking you so long to announce it? Like, we've been waiting for almost 8 years coming March, and there's just no signs of the console. And so the question is, are they going to do an announcement in January and release it in March again, just like they did with the original Switch? I say that it's a possibility. Not to say that Nintendo follows patterns or anything, but more to say that, again, with the Switch, they did it. I don't see why they can't do it again. And as a matter of fact, I think it's a good idea. Just to quickly, throw this opinion out there, I think that a release in March would allow anyone who wants to buy it initially to just buy it. Because there's going to be a portion of people who are just complete Nintendo fans, and they're going to want the console on day one, and then they'll just jump on it immediately, no matter what, right? Doesn't matter what games are on there. It could be Mario, it could be Metroid, it could be Mario Kart, it could be a new Animal Crossing. Everyone who is a Nintendo fan will be there on day one. And, a handful of parents will probably do it as well, but it's not everybody. And so what I can see them doing is that if they do a release in March, then they do maybe a release of one big game a month until the end of the year. And again, they've had several delays. I'm sure they've been working on these Switch 2 games. I'm sure they have something. Nintendo has been very good at just giving us a consistent stream of games. They're not always AAA games, but they don't need to be. And so if you do one game a month, you got one in March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November. That's like 9 games that they can release over the course of 2025. And then for the holiday season, now that people who want to buy for the holidays have a bunch of games and a bunch of options directly from Nintendo, and not to mention, of course, the third parties who are already jumping on for support. I think that the Switch has proved that the concept of having, everything on the go works best for Nintendo, and everyone who's seen the Switch 1 is definitely going to want to be in on the Switch 2. So expect a lot of third-party support, expect a lot of first-party support, of course, and I think that a release in March, I think they're ready. I think it's time. I think we could say goodbye to the Switch 1. It did its job. And not to mention, if they do release the Switch 2, they could just immediately drop the price of the Switch 1, and they can still sell those. Who knows how long they're going to keep a backwards compatibility between the Switch 2 and the Switch 1. That's completely optional, and they can just have it up there. If they start selling the Switches, the original ones for $200 and the Switch Lites for $100, those are easy to just get rid of. People will eat those up, especially if they're still releasing a couple of games. Like, let's just say, they do Metroid Prime 4 on the Switch 1 and on the Switch 2. And if they do Pokemon ZA on the Switch 1 and on the Switch 2, I could still see them selling original Switches if someone really, really wants to play the new Pokemon game. That's just the option that they have for consumers. I think that it would be a great idea. Moving on to the next topic. I wanted to say that the idea is that Nintendo is releasing a Switch 2. It's just another Switch, but probably better. I mean, not probably. It's definitely going to be better. It's been 10 years. The technology has advanced. We can do better now. So, the Switch 2 will play games better, higher resolutions, higher frame rates, etc., better performance. So that'll happen for sure, and maybe it'll even be a little bigger. I think that one of the issues that a lot of people had is that, the screens can be a little small, and I don't think that the Switch 1 is the most portable console. I think you still have to buy like a case for it, and then, you have to carry the whole thing. So I think Nintendo can afford to make a console just a bit bigger, and that'll relieve some of the gripes, I think, especially with like the Joy-Cons being kind of tiny. Not to mention, what other idea would Nintendo have at this moment? What would you do realistically? It's getting really hard to jump from one concept to the next that isn't simply just make the console stronger. We're seeing that issue right now with like the PlayStation and the Xbox, where what are they supposed to do for their next gen? Just make the consoles more powerful? How much more powerful could they possibly get? Nintendo is in a prime position to just let the Switch 2 be a more powerful Switch, have slightly better games, or at least, even depending on how strong this thing is, it could even be way, way better. Who knows? Maybe it's going to be insane how much power this new device has, but it gives them an opportunity to A, let them make better games, and B, let other games that couldn't originally be on the Switch 1 be on the Switch 2. We still haven't seen anything come out of that Call of Duty contract / agreement that they made with Nintendo, so I'm suspecting that the Switch 2 is when they're going to be jumping on. And again, that's just better for anyone who's going to buy a Switch 2. They're just going to have more options at the end of the day. So the Switch 2 is the correct play. Having just this upgraded version of the Switch is the best option right now, because I just don't see what else they could do. We're not going to do VR. VR is just, it's not convenient enough. There's no way. We're just going to do the whole portable home console hybrid thing. I think that's fine. They don't need to do anything extra. It works out just fine. Let the new ideas come in another like 8 to 10 years. It'll be fine. We just need more time for the technology to catch up, and then we can go ahead and do, something new. Maybe they will do a Nintendo VR thing in the future, but for now, I think Switch 2 is going to be the best play. And that leaves us with the final topic, at hand for the console, what are the games gonna be? Because if it's just a Switch 2, I mean, that's fine. There's nothing exciting about a Switch 2. It just means that there's a new console on the horizon, and it just means that they're probably going to continue making really good games for it, because that's been their focus. They're just making good games that work on their consoles well, and I have a lot of faith that Nintendo will continue to do that going into the next generation with the Switch 2. So the question is, what are they going to bring on board? Well, the obvious answers are Metroid Prime 4 and Pokemon ZA. I feel like those are just the eye catchers. Everyone loves Pokemon. Nintendo fans like Metroid. Those are the obvious answers, but more importantly and more excitingly, 2025 does mark the 40th anniversary of Super Mario, and we have had a surprising lack of like a 3D Mario. I mean, we had 3D World port with Bowser's Fury, and of course Odyssey was really good, but Odyssey was like right out of the gate, and 3D World is still just a port, even if Bowser's Fury is its own thing. I think that Nintendo has been working on something else, and I don't think it's Odyssey 2. These 3D Marios, whenever they get a sequel, which is what, like Galaxy 2, and maybe that's it. They stem when Nintendo has an overload of ideas left from the original concept, which is exactly what happened with Galaxy 2. They had a bunch of ideas left over, and they made a Galaxy 2 because they just had that many ideas. So I think it's time for a new Mario game, and it's not an Odyssey 2. I think we're moving on. It's something completely new. 40th anniversary Mario Kart is like the most prime game to be just available either at launch or within the first year. Everyone is ready for a new Mario Kart, right? I mean, sure, like Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is good. It offers a lot, and it's Nintendo's #1 selling Switch game by like a wide margin. So I think that releasing a Mario Kart 9 or 10 or whatever they want to call it is going to be one of the best games that they can release, especially on Mario's 40th anniversary. It just lines itself up too perfectly for it to not be a big deal. It just seems like, again, just Mario's 40th anniversary. We have a new 3D Mario, a new Mario Kart, and you know, those are the big ones. I think that if we're talking about like Mario 40th anniversary, a concept that they could play around with is a new Mario Maker, but for the 3D games. So we do a Mario Maker 3D, you do your 64s, your Sunshines, Galaxies, you know, your 3D worlds, your Odysseys. I think that they could definitely make that happen in this year, in 2025. And again, it's just another one of the games that would be great to have on the 40th anniversary for Mario. So that's pretty much like the things that I'm like, you know, off the top of my head, which I think would be a great idea for the Switch 2, you know, just for Mario in general. But it's not guaranteed, obviously. This is all just speculation. So yeah, what are your guys' thoughts? I think that the news is coming soon, which is why I'm uploading this video in the first place. Like, if I do not upload this now, I'm gonna get caught with my pants down, and I'm gonna look like a sad boy, and other videos will be coming soon. But let me know what you think. Let me know if you think that the announcement is coming in January, or if they're waiting until March. Let me know if you think if the release date is not gonna be in March and it's gonna be sometime later, because maybe they want to hold on. Who knows? You guys let me know, and let me know what games you're looking forward to. Like I said, I'm ready for that next Mario Kart. That's the big one for me. But let me know what you think in the comments. I'll talk to you guys later. See ya.